All right, man. Take the truck. You know what it is, man. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hey, how y'all doing? Hope everybody's good. All right, so look, man, today's episode, we're going to be talking about, they brought some scholars in to actually talk about this case of Drake and UMG to the courts, and they might give their input. Let's see what they're going to do, what the scholars are trying to do that have nothing to do with it. Are they siding with Drake or are they siding with UMG? So let's see. Before we get into that, I got to get a legendary spiel. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the Hidden Gem. 1,300 subscribers, over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,000. And yes, I am the King of the North, the Night King. Let me know what kingdom you from. So let's get to it, man. It should be a goodie. Let's go. All right, man. This comes courtesy of The Ville. You know what it is. So let's get it.
Now, there seems to be an update in the Drake and UMG lawsuit. As you can see here, it looks like there's some educators, some scholars, if you will, who've actually decided to step on the scene. Now, as you can see, they are entering as an amici curiae, also known as an amicus brief. If you've known about the situation with Joe Cat trying to involve himself, you know he tried to involve himself with an amicus brief. However, this time around, it's not a whistleblower, but people of education, people with a prestigious background. It says brief of scholars Cheris Kubrin, Jack Lerner, Adam Dunbar, and Kyle Winnan as amici curiae in support of defendants' motion to dismiss. Defendants being UMG in this case, and they're in support of them to try to get the motion to dismiss to be approved by the judge.
Okay, so they stepping in uh to to give some clarity on probably what the lyrics mean and how this could set a new precedent against how would I say this, the music community in a whole. So they stepping in to probably clear up some probably to clear up the meaning of words and lyrics and stuff like that. So they stepping in for UMG. This is actually pretty big. I believe this is pretty big because these are not whistleblowers. These are people who are from academia and they outside of this. So this is actually pretty big.
And when I say that they're scholars, I am really not kidding with you. It says Dr. Cheris Kubrin is a professor of criminology whose research includes the use of rap lyrics in criminal trials. Professor Jack Lerner is a law professor specializing in intellectual property and the First Amendment law. Dr. Adam Dunbar is a scholar who has studied the prejudicial effects of rap lyrics in legal settings. Kyle Winnan is a legal researcher focused on digital media and evidentiary standards. Amici submit this brief to assist the court in understanding the broader constitutional and socio-cultural implications of admitting artistic expression, particularly rap lyrics, as evidence in a criminal prosecution. And as you could tell by their background, there's a reason why they decided to step in as an amicus brief, amici curiae. They are stepping in to educate the court and to let the court know and to let the judge know that they are basically here to spit game, educate the people on what is going on and why these rap lyrics shouldn't be used in a court of law. Now, they refer to
This is crazy because when it comes to this case, they will do this, but I didn't really see them step in for other rappers, and I don't know if they use other rappers. Like I think they did, but this case is probably a little bit bigger than other rappers, so I can understand why. Plus, that has something to do with uh probably criminal activities. Is different from this right here is a civil suit, I believe. It's not actually no, it's not a criminal suit. This is definitely a civil suit. So let's keep it going.
themselves as the amici are nationally recognized experts on the use of rap lyrics in court. They are criminologists and scholars of criminal justice, freedom of expression, and intellectual property. Amici have authored landmark experimental studies demonstrating that rap evidence creates a strong risk of bias in the courtroom. A legal treatise on the use of rap lyrics in criminal proceedings, content analysis of rap music, and research of intersections of race and the criminal justice system. Amici have served as expert witnesses, been widely quoted in media, and presented their research to thousands of attorneys, judges, scholars, and members of the public. Amici seek to provide this court with the contextual framework necessary to examine rap lyrics, one that accounts for rap's history as artistic expression, its genre-specific parties, and in particular, the unique role and normative conventions of rap battles, rap feuds, and diss tracks. A thorough understanding of this context is necessary not only to assess the defamation claim at issue in this case, but to prevent the harm that arise when courts treat rap lyrics as confessions or factual representations.
That right there is big. That right there, that last part is very important, and that's very big. Treating rap lyrics like confessionals, like that right there is very, very big. Prevent harm to the artists or to areas of court. Treat rap lyrics like confessionals or factual representations. Like that right there is very big. That right there is if they get in, yeah, if they dismiss this, it's because of probably that right there. And you know the crazy thing is, we haven't heard from Drake's team. We haven't heard. They didn't do a rebuttal yet. We haven't heard. Maybe I missed it, but I haven't heard it. Let's keep going.
Okay. So it looks like they're coming and trying to let the people know that rap battles shouldn't be taken serious. Like UMG has been saying, this should be all taken as hyperbole. And since they are educators, they're hoping to educate the court on this scenario right here. And they are making sure that rap lyrics aren't being used as a confession or a factual representation. I think this is very important because that's what Drake is doing. At this point, Drake is referring to lyrics as something to use against Kendrick Lamar and UMG. That's been his tactic this whole time. Him and his lawyers have been doing this whole entire time. And this violates the First Amendment in its entirety and also goes against what rap battles and rap stands for. However, they say here that they have no personal or financial stake in this case, nor any relationship to the parties to this litigation. Neither the parties nor the counsel have authored this brief in a whole or in part. On May 9, 2025, Amici contacted counsel for the parties via email to determine their position on this motion. The defendant indicated it will not oppose the motion. The plaintiff, being Drake, did not respond to it. A list of Amici Curie professors and their institutional affiliations is provided in Appendix A. The views expressed by Amici do not purport or represent the views of the affiliated institutions. So at this point, it seems like they're saying that they don't have a dog in the race, and they contacted both the defendant and the plaintiff. UMG, being the defendant, had said that they will not oppose the motion. Obviously, it's going to work in their favor because it's a motion to dismiss. But as far as Drake and his team not responding, I'm kind of curious about that. The plaintiff not responding. But they say that they're not there for either.
Yeah. I'm wondering why they didn't respond yet, and how far this is this gonna go. I'm just saying. I'm still believing that he's gonna drop this case.
Party. They're saying that they're there to assist the court, but it's definitely for a big reason. It's definitely for a reason. And that reason being the First Amendment, bro. Drake's defamation claim rests on the assumption that every word of Not Like Us should be taken literally as a factual representation. This assumption is not just faulty, it is dangerous. When rap lyrics are admitted, it is because they are treated as literal. This in turn opens the door to racial bias and stereotypes in the courtroom. As empirical studies have demonstrated, treating rap lyrics as literal also threatens the First Amendment speech protections. And the practice already has created a demonstrable chilling effect across the industry. As this court considers whether the strong lyrics at issue are expressions of opinion or rhetorical hyperbole on the one hand, or assertions of fact on the other. Amici respectfully urged this court to consider rap's history and artistic convention, and to recognize that diss track lyrics are far from factual representations. As we demonstrate below, there are hyperbolic forms of creative expression consistent with the unique artistic practices and normative conventions of the genre. Diss tracks are the emblematic and long-standing feature of the history and the cultural context of rap. They are understood by the audiences not to represent factual assertions about the opposing artist, but rather to demonstrate skill and dominance meant to build allegiance and win competitions through clever wordplay. Hyperbole, bluster, and demonstrations of disrespect. This court should consider this context and find rap lyrics at issue in this case are a form of rhetorical hyperbole, not factual assertions. Now they're cooking, y'all. They're going in, bro. And realistically,
This is true. This is true. You can't take this as factual evidence. And the truth be told, he never really came out and said that he was a PDF. He never said that. Me personally, I think this is all smoke and mirrors for Drake to stall out time for his contract. That's what I'm thinking. I think that he got to this point and there's really no turning back. I think that this is not going to go too much further. I think probably by the end of maybe next month or sometime next month, I believe that this is going to be dropped. I believe that Drake team is going to come forward and they're going to release the case or whatever. I don't think that they're going to go forward with this because think about it. Drake hasn't had a hit. He hasn't had a hit song for a year now. Like I'm talking like number one hit. He hasn't. And he's really out of sight, out of mind right now. So what is he doing? If he's working on something, he gonna want that to be pushed because you don't want to be one of those people who go against your record label and y'all in some type of litigation and now they throttle you. It's always best to be on the side. So I'm thinking that what he's gonna do eventually, I think that Drake is gonna end up dropping it, and he's gonna probably try to do it as quiet as possible, but it's not gonna work. Everybody's gonna be all over it. If he drops it, then it's just gonna be like, well, you did all that for nothing. So I'm thinking he's gonna drop it, but yeah, they coming in hot with this one.
it's only to protect the First Amendment. This is where they're coming from. These are educators, scholars that are letting you know this can't be done. If this happens, if Drake gets away and wins this case, this affects future cases down the road. It's not good for hip hop and it's not good for our rights at all. And Drake doing this lawsuit not only goes against hip hop, it goes against that as well. And this is why they're stepping in. I feel like these educators, these scholars, they're doing all of this because they know that this is much bigger than what it is. However, they are familiar with the hip hop lingo, they are familiar with the rap genre. So I guess that's why they felt entitled to jump in. Because it says rap is an established musical genre with the distinct artistic conventions that courts must consider before treating lyrics as factual representations. Rap music has a long history as a rebellion and a defiant art form that has developed unique and specific artistic conventions and modes of expression. Rap music is a verbal and musical element of hip hop, a cultural movement born in response to social conditions in predominantly Black urban communities, including economic decline, deindustrialization, urban neglect, and high crime. Hip hop comprises multiple forms of artistic expression, including breakdancing, DJing, graffiti, and MCing. Rap is an expression of Black American tradition or oral storytelling and signifying, a technique that incorporates exaggerating metaphor and wordplay. The core of signifying is the intentional manipulation of language, contrasting between literal and figurative meanings to create an ambiguous and intentionally complex message. When combined with rap's use of constantly evolving Black vernacular slang and its tendency to create new words and attribute varied meanings to common words, rap is particularly susceptible to misinterpretation. It is therefore critically important.
That's crazy. They put that so great. Everything they said is spot on. Everything. I'm gonna run that back some so you could keep repeat that because that was pretty good.
Language contrasting between literal and figurative meanings to create an ambiguous and intentionally complex message. When combined with rap's use of constantly evolving Black vernacular slang and its tendency to create new words and attribute varied meanings to common words, rap is particularly susceptible to misinterpretation. It is therefore critically important that the courts understand the history, norms, and artistic conventions of rap music as crucial factors in determining the meaning of rap lyrics. In the words of the California Court of Appeal, given the figurative expression which they are not intended to be and should not be read literally on their face. Now, B is interesting as well because now they talk about lyrics in general. They say courts frequently misinterpret rap lyrics as literal statements of fact, overlooking rap's distinct conventions arising from both historical traditions and intense market pressures. These misinterpretations.
That's 100% facts. Courts do because a lot of people. This is why the same way you don't understand the language of a doctor, right? So you go to a doctor, he got to speak in layman terms for you because you don't understand exactly what he's saying and what this means and what bone. the actual name. So he had to tell you exactly what this disease is. You have this, and you have that, and you don't know what it is and what it means. So they tell you in layman's terms. It means this cell, this, and this. That's exactly how they need to do hip hop lyrics. If this was to become a thing where they use hip hop lyrics in the court systems regularly, I'm not saying they don't use it because I'm sure somewhere they did, but they definitely need to bring in a scholar or someone to basically break down the lyrics, because they take these things literal, but they're not. Like when you say, if you say you I'm gonna put harm to someone. Usually, you mean metaphorically. You don't mean that you're gonna put harm to somebody, intentionally. You know what I'm saying? It's all when you say I'm gonna kill him on a beat. I'm gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? They think you talking about you really gonna kill him. Like no, you really saying that you're going to kill him with the flow. It's like it's a thing where it's extreme to a certain point for rappers, but for people, they look at it like, well, he must really mean that literally, and that's not the case.
Which can amount to criminalization of rap lyrics, pose a serious threat to artistic expression. Two key normative conventions made rap particularly susceptible to misinterpretation in judicial proceedings. First, stage names and public personas are a defining feature of genre. Rap artists routinely create fictionalized characters under which they perform. Marshall Mathers performs under Eminem, Jeffrey Williams performs under Young Thug, and so on. Rap artists often create a hyper masculine, street hardened persona for their musical careers because such personas lead to greater commercial success. But these personas rarely represent real life identities. When asked about his song High All the Time, Curtis James Jackson III, known professionally as 50 Cent, he explained, I don't drink and I don't use drugs. And I didn't back then either. I put that joint on the first record because I saw artists consistently selling 500K with that content. Wow, so they quoted 50 Cent. Even as a rap artist fabricate criminal personas, they also strive to appear authentic and proclaim they are keeping it real. But keeping it real doesn't mean lyrics should be taken as fact. The term
That's a fact, because this is we talking about movies. This what I'm saying. Like hip hop is based on entertainment for the most part. When you have entertainers coming out saying certain things, I think that they take rap as if it's real, because there are some people who do some real stuff in rap, but there's a lot of fake rappers, and there's a lot of rappers who say these things, they sensationalize these things just so they can make a point. You know what I'm saying? Because the streets are real. And if you're a rapper, you want to be a representation of the streets, even though if you're not from the streets, you gotta try to get as close as possible as you can to the realness. And that's what a lot of rappers like. That's what a lot of the audience from the streets like. You know what I'm saying? They don't expect you to get up there and bang, bang, bang everybody, but they want some type of representation. But for the most part, a lot of these, it's the same thing with movies. You go see a hood movie, you want them, oh, I see exactly what they're saying in that movie. That happens to me, even though they not really shooting nobody. So that's what it is. Let's keep it going.
mean rejecting sanitized Hollywood depictions of life, revealing the complexities and depth of the life in the inner city, or even fabricating criminal activities to maintain a tough image, a common practice in rap history, without understanding the multi-layered complexities of rap artists' claim to authenticity. Courts can misconstrue rap lyrics as literal depictions of real life. Second, braggadocio, hyperbole, and competitive wordplay are amongst rap's most defined artistic practices. As Amici discussed below, these characteristics define rap battles and diss tracks where exaggeration and lyrical cleverness take precedence over truth. Rappers use these battles to showcase their lyrical skills, focusing on creative insults designed to entertain and impress their audience. It is critically important that courts consider the particular artistic norms around rap battles when determining whether lyrics should be deemed factual representations. Diss tracks,
And that's the thing. All they have to do is go in there and pull up some URL battles, some KOTD battles, some all of these battles, and say this is exactly what a rap battle is. It's aggressive poetry in a way. So basically, it's two people and they sling the most insults that they can at each other. This is what this is. This is what Kendrick's not Kendrick UMG should do. Take my advice, UMG. Y'all should pull up some rap battles in the court and say, this is what this is. These dudes ain't really trying to kill you. And look, right at the end, they hug each other. They're not really doing all this. But it's basically what it is. That's what they should do.
Battles and rap feuds are part of an established tradition in rap music involving outrageous hyperbole and exaggeration, with neither fans nor performers taking it as literal. Competition and verbal sparing have been integral to rap music since the art form's inception in the 1970s. Drawing on a long tradition of African American culture, rap battles and diss tracks are often vicious, graphic, and hyperbolic, and rap lyrics regularly contain accusations of disruptible conduct, including illegal behavior. Audiences avidly follow rap feuds for their entertainment value and sheer drama. They expect exaggeration, insult, and lyrics that hit below the belt. They understand these performances are contests of verbal dexterity and lyrical domination, not factual arguments or a series of news reports. Historically, the creative use of language
That's a fact. Lyrical dominance, not something that you could take factual. That's a fact.
and verbal competition are found in cultural practices within the African American community. These practices, referred to as dissing or capping, roasting, or clowning, involving ritual exchange or insult. As one example, the dozens is a verbal game of dissing someone's mother using highly exaggerated, often sexually loaded, humorous, ritualized insults with explicit and profane language. Another example is signifying is a style of verbal play where an individual denigrates another through witty play on words and irony. These games of insult are meant to showcase the intellect, sharpness of tongue, and the wit of the competitors. Rap music is a continuation of these cultural traditions. In the words of rapper Ice Cube, the essence and the origin of hip hop is to battle. As a result, rap is an especially rich site of insult, where insults abound as means of spice, rebellion, entertainment, and humor, building on the genre's traditional use of metaphor, play on words, and boasting. Nowhere is this more evident than in rap battles and diss tracks, staples of the genre. And right here, they literally do a whole essay breaking down what a rap battle is. Now, me and you on this channel, we at this point should already know what a rap battle is, but they break it down. They break it down for the court. They tell you people who've rap battled in the past, Jay-Z, DMX, Eminem, they're willing to even break down diss tracks, bro. I mean, they really were willing to just break down everything for the court. They go over all these disses that we know of. They go over all of the people before that have dissed. But the important part between the diss track and the rap battle that they go over in the summary, the important part is right here. In short, the exchange of diss tracks and rap battles presumes the audience possesses prior knowledge of rap music and predominant artists and their histories and rivalries. Indeed, rappers are aware that their victory depends not on factual accuracy, but on the salience of the metaphors and images, as well as the audience's ability to make these context dependent connection. Whoever got the hardest bars, whoever got
That's and I think this is the reason why I think this whole thing is stupid. Because it all boils down to is the audience determining. I honestly be honest with y'all, if Drake was to not had did this, he probably would have went on like nothing ever happened. If he would have just dropped the Heart Part 6 and then that was it, and then Kendrick went on, Drake went on, Drake just made music, never did this whole thing here. Yeah, he probably would. It probably would have it would have worked out for him. As I think people would have forgot about it, but he kept it going. And I think this is the reason why we're here today.
the craziest wordplay and whoever's saying the most foul shit. At this point, that's what they're saying a rap battle and diss tracks are. Sometimes rappers don't depend on facts. Sometimes they say things to get the crowd going, and the crowd is already under the assumption that all of this is for entertainment and it's all hyperbole and opinion. The use of rap lyrics in judicial proceedings threaten to undermine important civil and constitutional rights. Treating rap lyrics as factual representation undermines First Amendment rights. Drake's complaint rests on assumptions that every word in Not Like Us should be taken literal as factual representation. Amicus urged the court to recognize the danger that assumption poses to the First Amendment's guarantee of freedom of speech. When courts ignore rap music's history and artistic convention, the effect is to deny rap the status of art and instead to flatten lyrics into literal confessions or statements of specific intent, as we discussed below. This problematic treatment has introduced racial bias and unfair prejudice in countless criminal cases, and it has created a demonstrable chilling effect across the industry, changing longtime artistic practices. a phenomenon rappers, commentators, and policymakers are discussing with increasing urgency. The United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania recently recognized this danger in a civil case involving rap lyrics and established a presumption that artistic expression is not a factual admission. In a society that treasures the First Amendment's expression, courts should start with a presumption that art is art, not a statement of fact. To refute the presumption, the party offering the evidence must demonstrate that the art is the artist's attempt to tell a factual story. The mere fact that the artistic expression resembles reality is not enough because holding otherwise would risk chilling the free expression that our society holds dear. In that case, the court held that even first person that resembles real life is not enough to overcome the presumption without some other indicia, like the inclusion of factual detail that is not publicly available. In light of the chilling effects that would occur absent this presumption, and particularly in context of rap music, the court concluded that the First Amendment requires no less. Amici respectfully urged the court to consider the First Amendment implications of this case, to establish a similar presumption, and to reject plaintiffs' invitation to assume that diss track lyrics should be taken as assertions of facts. Treating rap lyrics as literal makes it more likely that rap lyrics will be exploited to introduce prejudice and racial bias in other cases. The claim that Not Like Us should be taken literally not only threatens the First Amendment rights, it also has functioned as a gateway to introduce racial bias and stereotypes in the courtroom. If rap lyrics are treated as literal, they are more likely to be found probative and to be admitted. If they are considered to
That's true. That's true. That's a big one. If rap lyrics, which 99% of rappers are black, so if rap lyrics are permitted to be used in the court of law and basically saying that for your First Amendment rights, and artists don't have a they don't have a they don't have the right for freedom of expression as an artist, that's going to be a huge problem, because now you got a lot of rappers out here who can't really say what they want because they're afraid that if they do, they're going to get cut down. So yeah, that's pretty big.
creative expression, they are less likely to be found relevant or to pass muster under federal rules of evidence 403 and 404 and state equivalence. Literally is thus extremely important because, as the California legislator found, a substantial body of research shows a significant risk of unfair prejudice when rap lyrics are introduced into evidence, explicitly recognizing the connection between unfair prejudice and literally. In 2022, a legislator required court to presume the probative value of the creative expression for the literal truth is minimal, absent certain specified conditions. Research demonstrates that rap evidence can inject bias and racial prejudice into legal proceedings. This is particularly evident when considering how rap music triggers racially biased attitudes. That is, when people think about rap music, they are also thinking about race, which results in racially biased judgments. This point is supported across 3 decades worth of empirical studies. These studies demonstrate that exposure to rap music can result in individuals judging a person as more hostile and having worse character, particularly when that person is black. In other words, the bias activated by rap as a genre likely relates to the genre's association with the black community. This also evident when considering how stereotypes about the genre affect interpretation of the lyrics. Violent lyrics represented as rap music are on average interpreted as more literal and more threatening than identical lyrics represented as.
That's a fact too. Violent lyrics in rap songs are definitely more susceptible to the court system saying it's literal. And that's right, because you got a lot of songs out here. Like there's some songs I could sit here and name some where like another one bites the dust. Do we take that song literal? Listen to the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Like listen to the lyrics in that song. Another one bites the dust. Do we take that literal? No, we don't. But it's definitely talking about doing some things. So
Different genre. Similarly, individuals make inferences about a person's character based on whether they write rap lyrics, including whether they are likable and involved in criminal activity. In short, it is dangerous to assume that rap lyrics should be taken literally because doing so opens the door to racial bias and prejudice in judicial proceedings. Introducing rap lyrics at trial is a way to invoke racial stereotypes without ever explicitly mentioning race, and to do so in a way that shapes how jurors perceive the evidence and defendant. Amici respectfully urge this court to be aware of the consequences that result from treating lyrics as a factual assertion. In conclusion, For the foregoing reasons, amici respectfully urge the court to grant the defendant's motion to dismiss as to plaintiff's defamation claim. So the scholars decided to come out and let the court know, if you take these rap lyrics literal, not only does it affect the First Amendment, it invites a racial bias and stereotypes into the court. And the way that they're coming in with this information, with the prestigious background that they have, I am very curious to know if the court is going to allow for them to come in as an amicus brief. Last time somebody that came in as an amicus brief, they were a whistleblower. These are educators. These are people who have went to school, have all the accolades, and it seems like they're worried not only about Drake winning this battle and how it could affect how rap lyrics are used in court, but also the issues that it tackles revolving around freedom of speech and other things attached to this case that are a lot more broader than just rap music. And it looks like they tried to word everything they could as much as possible to try to get this dismissed. I am curious to see how the judge is going to respond. She has responded to an amicus brief in the past. However, that was in regards to a whistleblower, so it got dismissed right away. This coming from educators and scholars alone, I'm wondering if it's going to make all the difference. I'm wondering what the judge will say in regards to this. I didn't pass the bar exam, but y'all can tell me how you feel about this in the comments, man. It was a good read. I think that.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that was pretty good. Learn something new every day. I definitely think that they should allow these scholars to come in and school the courts on what lyrics actually mean and why it's shouldn't be something that they should sanction or do anything about. If Drake wins this, then all of those songs, all those lyrics, y'all could kiss and goodbye. I'm talking about people going to be suing from songs from back in the day. And I just don't understand how people can agree with that. But either way, thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Peace. Bye.